Live. What is going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, I greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, go subscribe to mine and Blake's new YouTube channel, AIS Breaks, where we do box openings and all that stuff. Trying to get that to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 723. So definitely go hit that subscribe button over there. Of course, subscribe to this channel. And let's dive into just the conversation and chat and everyone handing out, just generalized talk. I just want to talk generally, of course, answer questions, have a fun conversation per usual. We're going to inching closer and closer to training camp, right? Slowly but surely, we're kind of snail crawling there. It's all been very quiet. All is quiet on the Western Front, and hopefully eventually it gets there. It's just, ideally we'd like a lot of things to start picking up, right? But I do think if a trade does happen, it'll probably be closer to training camp, probably in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think you'll start hearing the conversations at least start picking up again. I think you'll start hearing that conversation and narrative once again. But anyway, let's get into the chat. We got several people in here. And then also subscribe to AIS Breaks with me and Blake, my kid. Go hit that subscribe button. I pinned it in the comments. Like I said, trying to get to 1,000 subs over there. So if you haven't done that, go do that, please. First video's up. Second video will be up Monday. So forward to that. Let's go as it stands live stream. I've given up on trades, and this Curry stuff probably isn't happening. I hope it does, but I don't see it. Also, how good is the doctor they hired? I hear a lot of good things about him, but I've never heard of him since like 2 or 3 days ago. So a couple things to unpack. First off, talk about the Steph side of things. So yeah, like the Steph Curry thing, I wanted to kind of elaborate on and go into a little more. Look, I would be not like shocked if it happened this season. I just think it's very, very unlikely. It's not impossible. A lot of people are trying to make it impossible. I understand that they're both first apron teams. There's always workarounds, right? Lakers would probably, if it were to happen, probably happen closer to trade deadline, because they'd have to like kind of sell some guys and clear some space so that way they could get under the apron, because you have till what, the end of February or something like that to stay under. Point is that they can make it work if they really want to. Like if all parties and all sides want to make it happen, they can make it happen. It is a lot of work that needs to be done. Lakers would have to essentially unload 90% of their roster to do it, but it's possible, right? You could very well make it happen. But I don't think it happens this year. I think if it were to happen, it was going to happen, or it will happen next offseason when LeBron can go and kind of, finagle the numbers, so that way he can kind of, keep the Lakers under, and then they can go trade and do whatever they need to do. So I think if it is to happen, it doesn't happen until next offseason. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of talk, a lot of conversation about it, a lot of excitement on the potential. I would absolutely love for it to happen if it were to happen. I think it's very unlikely. But as for Dr. Sims, yes, so he is definitely qualified. He's definitely up there. He was with the Warriors up in San Francisco for a while. He did the Olympics, both with I think it was the sprint runners, and then he was with the Paris Olympics with Team USA and stuff. So he's familiar with basketball. He's familiar with medicine. He's familiar with conditioning and training and keeping all these guys. So he is very qualified for the job as that doctor. So I'm definitely excited to see that. Hopefully we have a lot less injuries and it's not as big of a thing, right, as it has been, particularly last year. So we'll see how this all plays out. Also, who do you think needs to step up more, Vando, Gabe, or C. Wood? I say Vando because his defense, but what do you think? I mean, Vando, I don't think like step up implies like they're lackluster and need to pick it up, at least to me. Where Vando, I don't think it's that. Vando was great when he came back originally before he got hurt again. I mean, he was giving you nearly a double-double and playing defense, doing all of those things. And he was starting to get back into like being the Vando we know and love on the defensive side. So I don't think you personally, I don't think you could put Vando in that category as like needing to step up, just because again, I don't think it's a need to step up. I think it's a need to stay healthy, right? I think he needs to stay healthy. So for me, same thing with kind of Gabe Vincent, right? I mean, you could argue with Christian Wood, but I think both Wood and Gabe Vincent definitely need to prove a little bit, because even before Gabe Vincent got hurt and stuff, he was like 1 of 11 from 3. He really had his struggles. Christian Wood, I actually think was a coaching issue. I don't think it was a Christian Wood issue. I think it was coaching. I just think Darvin Ham didn't know how to properly utilize him. I think Darvin Ham utilized him as a 3-and-D wing rather than an actual like big man down low. Again, he's not like a traditional sense big man, but he's best around the basket. He is a big man that can score around the basket. Oh, and on occasion step out and knock down the 3. He can spread the floor. That's great. But Darvin Ham utilized him as a guy who can shoot the 3 and on occasion go to the basket. It's not his game. He basically operated him in reverse. So if I had to choose one, I'd probably say Gabe Vincent, because again, he was terrible when he was healthy, and then kind of picked it up there, or needs to pick it up there as we go forward. Zach Tech, I really want Zach LaVine. I really do. I think Zach LaVine is the best ceiling raiser. I think Zach LaVine gives us the best chance to really kind of hit strides. So, do you have an IG? I never use it. I think it's just like as it stands sports. Twitter, I need to use more. I really do need to use Twitter more. When I first started the channel, I made all the like social media profiles, but like I just focused on YouTube and just like took off through YouTube rather than like through other social media. Like a lot of people blow up on like, TikTok or, whatever, and then try to convert it to YouTube. I was lucky enough to not blow up. I'm still very small in the grand scheme of things, but have some growth through just solely YouTube. So I never really got into IG and stuff like that. Twitter, I do post occasionally. So definitely if you want to go over on Twitter, I should promote my Twitter more. But like I said, I've just had so much success just growing my channels organically through YouTube, which is what YouTube wants, right? So it's worked for me. And also, since speaking on channels, trying to grow another channel, AIS Breaks, me and Blake. First video's up already on that channel. Go subscribe to that channel. Trying to get to 1,000 subs. I pinned it to the top of the comments here. So if you could go subscribe, that would be awesome. Second video will be up on Monday. Just get to have some joy, open some packs, see smiles, kid's face, all that stuff. So it's great. What's going on, Jack? What up, bruh? Lakers need to make some moves. I am right there with you. I don't think anything happens in the next week or two. I think if something does, I don't even know if anything does, but if something does, I think more likely than not, it happens. Like we start getting the ramped up rumors once we get closer to training camp. So in like a week or two, I think you'll start hearing, the trade talks again. I think you'll start hearing the trade rumors again. Because that's just usually how it goes. It's just, right now is the weird time of like no one really wants their prices to drop. Everyone's trying to gauge. Everyone's doing the blinking contest, and then eventually something hopefully will happen. I feel we're just waiting for Trey or someone else to ask out when we should be looking for two-way role players. Look, that's a very real possibility. I mean, seriously, it is. I mean, that's what the Lakers have historically done, try to chase the big fish rather than just getting the incremental increases. The problem is that like who's out there right now that is really worth the cost? Right? I want to trade too, absolutely. And I think we need a trade if we want to be a bona fide contender. I do still think this team has a chance. I still do think that this team could win a championship. I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Lakers won a championship. I wouldn't bet on it. I don't think it's super likely, but healthy AD, healthy LeBron, this team's ready to go. If JJ Redick is even, a smidge better than Darvin Ham, which I think he'll be much better than Darvin Ham, but even just a smidge, right? That can have an impact and go a long way. You add another year of chemistry, you add another year of just growth and development, you add a better coaching staff, you add in, better health and safety trainers and stuff like that. You start adding in all these little pieces. There is real growth in this team. There is real development in this team. So many people talk about the moves that other teams did. Well, technically the Lakers kind of did too, right? Just through process of elimination and upgrading around the edges, right? I want to trade. I do think that we need a trade. But I do think that patience is the best solution right now. I think there's nothing out there that's worth, like, are you really trading 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant? Like, no, right? It's just, that's silly. Does it make you better? I think so, slightly. But again, Lakers are going to need multiple trades. Like, if they really want to make huge strides, it's going to have to be 2 trades. It's going to have to be a Jeremy Grant and a Bruce Brown, or a Bruce Brown and a Cam Johnson, like something like that. You're going to have to pull off 2 guys. You're going to have to get multiple pieces if the Lakers really want to make real strides. Like, if you want to get like slightly better, then sure, but at what cost? No trade is better than a bad trade. You can always get worse. So what if the Lakers trade for Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton and also able to get Bruce Brown? If they got Colin Sexton, I don't really think there's a need for Bruce Brown. Right? I would rather have either or. I think there's arguments for both guys. Like, Bruce Brown gives you like a completely different look than D'Lo and Reeves. Colin Sexton gives you some similarities, just with more athleticism. So there is the potential that the Bruce Brown or that the Colin Sexton route works, just because, they'd be kind of similar to D'Lo and Reeves, but more athleticism. And when Colin Sexton is engaged defensively, he's much better defensively. It's just getting him focused and engaged on the defensive side. Bruce Brown, like, the more that I've talked, and discussed Bruce Brown, the more I love the idea. He's like the closest thing that's available to like an Alex Caruso type that can, obviously he doesn't have the shooting, but just that defense, that peskiness, being able to defend multiple possessions, being able to defend up, right? A lot of guys are great defensive guys, but they can't defend bigger players. They're kind of have to like stay in their like guard defending a guard or a wing defending a wing, where Bruce Brown can essentially defend 1 through 3. And I just think you have that peskiness out there alongside Austin Reeves, and then pair that with like a Cam Johnson or a Jeremy Grant. I think now you're starting to see some real strides. Now I think the Lakers are ready to go. But yeah, they are reaching with the Steph talk. I think so too. Again, I kind of wanted to, I added it to the video because I wanted to kind of dive into it more. I made the little fun video and gave my opinion, both sides, like the pros, the cons, the tinfoil hat version, and then the serious version. But it's a reach, at least this season. I don't think it'll be a reach next. I don't think it'll be a reach next offseason. Like, I actually think it's very likely next offseason, not this offseason, next offseason. Because if the Lakers and the Warriors are both like kind of bad, like people project them to be, then, or as long as the Warriors are bad, right? I think that Steph will want out. I think LeBron and Steph will reconnect. I think you'll have those conversations. But realistically speaking, the Lakers could do that now because LeBron, again, could take a haircut in order to free up the space necessary. Plus, D'Lo would fall off and all that stuff to where you could go and work out that trade. So there is a path. There is a path to Steph Curry next season. Could they technically get it done this season? Sure. It's just there's so many hoops that they need to jump through, right? They would have to just basically give away guys for free and take back notes. So they basically have to get themselves under the first apron, which is not an easy task. They could do it. Teams would be more than happy to take like Max Christie and Dalton Connect and all these guys. They'd take them for free just because it's easy. But there's just so many hoops that need to be jumped over right now for it to happen that I think it's fool's gold. The next offseason, this time next year, I actually think it's very likely if they want it to happen. If both the Steph and LeBron want it to happen. Also, Steph would be going into being a free agent, right? They would be his last season under contract. So he'd have even more power, more position to be like, hey, I either just go sign with them next year or get something back for them, right? So next offseason, Steph talks, I think, will be very rampant. Same thing with Kyrie, if I'm being honest. I don't want to get back into that, but yeah. What about Jakob Poeltl and Cam Johnson? I've mentioned Jakob Poeltl. I like the idea of Jakob Poeltl. Problem is would he be willing to take a backup role? Because he wants to start. It's one of the reasons why he went where he went. And I don't like him starting because he doesn't really stretch the floor by any stretch. He's kind of just a big physical body. I'm not saying you can't ever start him, right? Like certain matchups, but more times than not, like I actually really like Jakob Poeltl off the bench. Like if Jakob Poeltl is like, yeah, hey, whatever you need, I'm down, and he's willing to take on a reserve role, he might actually be the best in that regard. He'd be better than Valanciunas, in my opinion, because he's a guy that he doesn't give you the floor spacing that Valanciunas does, but Valanciunas isn't like lights out. Not like Cat in that regard, but Jakob Poeltl is just that big body that can do multiple things. So we'll see. What's going on, Roy? Appreciate you being here. What would your starting lineup be? As is, like, as it stands. Personally, my favorite lineup would be D'Lo, Vando, Rui, LeBron, and AD. And every time I go Vando, they go, Vando can't play the two? What are you talking about? Just because he lines up position sake as the two doesn't mean he has to be the two. He's usually defending out on the perimeter. For position sake, to make people more comfortable, fine, go LeBron, D'Lo, Vando, Rui, Anthony Davis. But the point is that Vando, I really like the size that unit has. Vando, 90% of the time, is defending up on the perimeter anyway against opposing guards. So on defense, he's the two. On offense, you drop him down and you run sets to where he can be utilized on the offensive side, right? A lot of people don't seem to understand that when I mentioned the idea of Vando in the starting unit next to Rui and LeBron, right? On offense, LeBron could be your point or your two or whatever, however you want to structure it, right? But I just really like the size, really like the switchability. Now you got your point of attack, got all that stuff. Outside of that, if you don't want to go that route with Jared Vanderbilt because it's a little like unconventional, I would go D'Lo, Max Christie, Vando, LeBron, and AD is what I really like. I just think with that, Max Christie, 40% catch and shoot threes, gives you that defense, gives you that point of attack. Jared Vanderbilt plus Anthony Davis already make you a top defensive team in the league. If Max Christie can defend consistently, like we've seen him be able to do, you're probably one of the best defensive teams in the league. You still got your shooting, you still got your balance, still got everything. Now Reeves can be your sixth man off the bench. I know every time I talk about Austin Reeves off the bench, people don't really like it, but the eye test, the numbers, everything say that he is best off the bench. His numbers are exactly the same, just on much better efficiency. He is much more efficient when Austin Reeves comes off the bench. I also think D'Lo is just better at the things that the Lakers need. He's a better high-volume three-point shooter. He's a better playmaker, right? He's better at just playing off ball and moving off ball, especially as a movement shooter, than Reeves is, where Reeves is best kind of catch and shoot stationary. And I think Reeves would, off the bench, can just do what he wants to do, which is be aggressive and go score the basketball. So no matter what, I would start D'Lo at the point and then go with like D'Lo and then either a Vando or Max Christie and then a Vando or Rui if you go with Vando at the top. Would be my ideal. So also, again, real quick, go subscribe to AIS Breaks. Me and Blake are trying to get to 1,000 subs. So kindly go subscribe there and then also subscribe here. And also check out that video that we posted. Post the first video. Second video will be up Monday. Trying to make that happen. Very possible, Rob, not trading anyone to get Steph Curry. Rob Pelinka does move inside. I mean, it's very possible. No, I think last live stream, No, not the last one, because the last one was me and Blake. I think the previous live stream. We talked about that idea of like, what if they're waiting for some type of big move, like the big impactful move, like a Steph or a Trey or something like that. And it's very possible. LeBron very well could be working behind the scenes. Let's see. I heard Walker Kessler wants out of Utah. Rob should be on the phone right now. It's very possible. Look, they still very well could get Kessler done. It just comes down, again, everything's about asking price. Everything's about what's the cost, right? Like if you have to sell the farm to go get Walker Kessler, I love Walker Kessler. He's probably my favorite outside of Zach LaVine, probably my favorite acquisition because of now and the future, right? He's a guy that, yes, can make an impact now and really help now, but now you got your center for the next 15 years. You're good, right? So I really like the idea, but again, it all boils down to cost, right? If Utah wants both unprotected first from the Lakers, then it's just, you can't do it, right? Just Walker Kessler isn't going to move the needle enough. To me, he needs to be kind of like that, the add-on almost, right? You go get Bruce Brown for a pick swap and then players, and then you go get Cam Johnson for a first and players, and then you go trade that other first, go get Walker Kessler, remove the protection on the 2027 pick that they own, and then, give up, maybe you give them a Maxwell Lewis or something, a young guy to kind of have them for, especially out on the wing, because that's something that they really need are wings. They have a bunch of guards, they have a bunch of centers and big men, right? They could really use somebody at the 3 to grow and develop. Well, there you go. Do something like that. Here you go. Or maybe it's a Jalen Trofino or something like that. Now you're good. Lakers better make a damn trade. My offseason is ruined. Yeah, I hope so. I really do. But again, no trade is better than a bad trade. I'm all for making a trade. Again, it's got to be at the right price. Trading for Grant makes them a top 3 team in the West, especially if you keep D'Lo and Reeves and Vando starting lineup. D'Lo, Grant, Vando, LeBron, and Davis. Bench Reeves, Dalton, Wood, and Christie. Look, I really like the idea of Grant. A lot of people aren't really sold on Jeremy Grant and don't understand how he makes this better than Rui. There's a lot of reasons. Just better natural shooter. He's more versatile at either forward spot. He's a more natural 3 than Rui is. He's better than Rui. It's just, I really like the idea of Jeremy Grant. However, top 3 team in the West, I said that I think it moves them to the top 4. So I guess I agree with you in that sense. I just don't think they're a top 5 team overall, right? I think that they're there. I think that they're close. Also, I like the idea of D'Lo now being your 4th guy because he's shot so efficiently. So if he can continue that efficiency from shooting, then now Grant can be your 3rd guy. D'Lo can be your 1st. Whenever D'Lo scores 17 to 20, you're never losing those games. Lakers almost never lose now when he does that. Now imagine if he's your 4th guy. And then also that takes the pressure off of D'Lo if he has a bad game, right? So if D'Lo ends up having a poor game, it doesn't hurt us as much as it would right now because you got Jeremy Grant, where if he has a good game, it impacts us a lot more or at least to the same degree as it does without. So kind of how I feel. Let's see. We don't rebound the ball. Yes, which is why I would like the idea of the size. Tyler at Lakers Nation is what we need to see. Best replacement for Sean Davis. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And look, I've said I would love to collaborate with Lakers Nation at some point. I don't know if I'd actually join them just because I feel like it'd be a conflict of interest. They probably wouldn't even want me to do that, right? Because I don't look at it as we're competing. I think that there's plenty of space for all of us. I think, it's a community together. I know some people look at it as oh, like you're competing with Lakers Nation or you compete. I don't really look at it. I think that there are plenty of Laker fans for everybody, and we give different perspectives and opinions, right? So even if we talk about the same talking point, Trevor Lane's opinions are usually far different than mine, or just at least the way we perceive some of these things. And even the things that we agree on, I think still you're still getting different perspectives. So I don't look at it as a competition thing. However, like being a part of Laker Nation, would they really be okay with me having my own Laker channel and growing my own Laker channel and doing all that stuff? Like, I like the freedom. I like the creative freedom. I like, not having to answer to anybody, right? Like, I like that. Like, hey, if I want to talk about something, I talk about something. If I want to do something, I can do something. If I want to do a live stream, I can do a live stream. If I don't want to do a live stream today, I don't have to do a live stream today. Where, if you're under contract or you're part of a company, and you got to kind of, do that. You got to stick by that parameters. It kind of becomes a job. But I would go on whenever they wanted. Like, if they were like, hey, Tyler, like, you want to do a show this week? I'd be like, absolutely. Right? They wouldn't even have to pay me. Nothing. Like, I'd just do it for fun. Like, I would love to just have those conversations. The Warriors aren't projected to be bad. You made that up. I made up the Warriors being bad because I just said that if the Warriors are bad, I just don't like the Warriors lineups. Let's get these likes up, chat. Thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate you. Also, I don't think I have enough power to just make up media reports. I'm not that big. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I don't know how big you think I am. That's what I wanted to talk about was this. We don't rebound the ball. So, sorry, I'm trying to regain my train of thought. A big reason we were terrible rebounding the basketball last season was because it was not just fully important. I mean, it was Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham didn't want the Lakers crashing the board. They wanted them to get back in transition because the previous year, the Lakers were awful in transition. They're like one of the worst teams in the league. They might have been the worst in the league, but they were terrible in transition. So Lakers were much improved in transition. So Darvin Ham's plan was right. He acted like he wanted the Lakers to be a better team in transition by sacrificing rebounding, and that was a big problem. Again, it's not entirely the issue for the Lakers, but that was a big part of it because instead of the Lakers crashing the glass, they were getting back, right? So you got fewer offensive rebounds, you got fewer opportunities, right? All of that. The other element is Rui, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell in the backcourt. Again, go watch the tape. For those that don't believe me, most of the rebounds the Lakers gave up were due to long ball threes because the Lakers were so bad defending the perimeter. Teams shot more threes against the Lakers than they usually would. I mean, it's not a coincidence. Teams were having historic nights against the Lakers. Every player was turning into Steph Curry. I mean, we talked about it all season because D'Lo, Rui, and Austin Reeves don't give you the athleticism and the foot speed to chase down basketballs. So you're playing a team, right? And it's like, oh, all I have to do is outpace Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and Rui Hachimura. So you start adding all this together, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Lakers are terrible rebounding, right? So I do think JJ Redick will fix a lot of that. Like he's talked about, he wants the corners crashing. I think that will help tremendously. I think, I'm curious to see the way that he accounts for, does he always, like if Vando's on the court, does he always have Vando trailing back? But if he's on the corner, then can't really crash. So I'm curious to see how JJ balances it out. But Darvin Ham basically gave the trade-off of being great in transition, but terrible at rebounding, rather than trying to find a medium. Let's see. When are we going to make a trade? Same team is going to be worse next year, only getting older and an even better Western Conference. So here's again, I would love a trade. I don't think the Lakers are getting worse. Like, I think if anything, the Lakers will be better next year. Again, like a lot of people act like the Lakers won 37 games last year. when they won 47 games. And that was counting losing 10 out of 13 games after the in-season tournament. Lakers lost 10 out of 13 games. If Lakers win half of those games, they're the 4th seed, right? So, and that's counting all the injuries. That's counting all the consistencies that never got addressed all season long. Remember how bad we were to start games? And then it flip-flopped later in the season. We were great starting games. We were terrible closing games, right? Like all of those things that never got addressed. It's not a coincidence that then we got to Denver and the same inconsistencies we had all season long came to a rearing head when we got to the actual when we got to the playoffs. So I think that if you add in the hopefully better health, better coaching, even if you don't know if or don't want to necessarily believe that JJ Redick is better than Darvin Ham coaching wise, there is no doubt that the Lakers coaching staff, the entirety of the staff, is better now than it was with Darvin Ham. So even if you think that I can't say JJ is better than Darvin Ham because we haven't seen him play, okay, that's fine. But the rest of the coaching staff is far better than even Darvin Ham with his coaching. Like, leave Darvin Ham on his staff or just remove JJ from the equation. Our staff is better than what the Lakers have with Darvin Ham. So, again, you have better health, better coaching. What I find funny is for years, all we heard is Lakers need to stop this turnover. Lakers need to build chemistry, right? All these other teams get praised for building chemistry. All these other teams get praised for essentially staying the same. Yeah, they might add a small piece or something, but 12 out of the 14 guys are the same players, right? And nobody got that much more significantly better, but we'll touch on that here in a moment. But all the things that other teams get praised for, now it's like, oh, the Lakers are going to be worse because they're going to have another year of chemistry. They're going to have more camaraderie. They're going to be better coached. They're going to be better. Like, you start going down the checklist. How do you not think that the Lakers are better? Now, again, I understand the Western Conference is brutal. Clippers got worse. Denver got worse, right? People think that, look at the two teams that got better, that got looked at as significantly better. OKC. Okay, OKC already was the 1 seed last year, right? And they didn't fix the problem as to why the Lakers were such a bad matchup for them, right? They got Alex Cruz. They're going to be much better on the perimeter, but Isaiah Hartenstein isn't stopping Anthony Davis. So, again, our size is still going to be a problem for OKC. So I still like that matchup. That matchup hasn't changed. And then, you look at Dallas. Everyone talked about how Klay Thompson's washed up and trash, and if the Lakers got him, it means nothing. But now he goes to Dallas, and now all of a sudden Dallas is that much better. Again, this team was just in the finals for one, so how much better would they be? They also were in the finals on their defense. Klay Thompson is terrible defensively. So, again, he's not going to be anywhere near defensively. The offense they ran last year does not make any sense with Klay Thompson. Zero. They might be worse because of adding Klay Thompson if the offense doesn't change. Luka was number 1 in isolation last year. Kyrie Irving was number 4. Their entire offense is Kyrie and Luka, isolation, guys standing on corners, and then they create and kick out. Right? So, again, I don't know. I'm not saying that it won't be better. Jason Kidd is a good coach. I think Jason Kidd will do some tinkering, right? Make it and figure it out. But again, I don't know. We don't know how much better that makes him. DeMar DeRozan going to Sacramento made 0 sense. 0. Right? I wanted DeMar DeRozan on the Lakers, yes, because the Lakers don't have anyone like DeMar DeRozan. The Lakers don't have that isolation, go get me a bucket scorer. They don't. They don't have anyone that can really shoot over the top. LeBron James and Anthony Davis can do it at times, but it's not really their game, right? So to me, it made sense to go after DeMar because it's something that the Lakers didn't have. But I still said I have fit concerns and I have questions about how that works, right? Now you look at Sacramento. They have been one of the best pace teams in the league. Go look up DeMar DeRozan's pace when every team he's been on. Go look at where they rank as far as pacing goes, and then look at where Sacramento's ranked the last few years. DeMar DeRozan doesn't make any sense in that regard. Sacramento isn't best in the half court. They're best in transition, getting out, running the scoreboard up. But 2, they needed defense. They've been one of the top scoring teams in the league the last few years. A lot of people look at the end result of their scoring last year and go, oh, they were down last year. Yes, because Malik Monk got hurt and they just fell off a cliff, right? But if you look before Malik Monk got hurt, they were, again, one of the highest scoring teams. They were top 5, I believe, in the league. So scoring is an issue. They needed defense. They couldn't stop anybody. They needed 3-and-D wings. And then you bring in DeMar DeRozan, who doesn't play defense, doesn't run up and down the court, is a half-court option, also doesn't shoot threes, which fits their game plan. And then on top of that is another isolation scorer who's best with the ball in his hands when you have Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. I don't know how you don't look at Sacramento and go, they just got worse. Like, now again, maybe they work, maybe they figure it out, but at the end of games, who's closing for them? What's their starting 5 and what's their closing 5? So Malik Monk's going to come off the bench because that's what he always does, but he usually closes for them. So you're going to have what? De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis? You're tiny. Not only are you tiny, you're terrible defensively. Your only defensive player is De'Aaron Fox, right? Like, again, how do you look at Sacramento and go, oh man, they got so much better, right? Grizzlies, yes, they're coming. They're going to be interesting. See how that goes. But again, nobody got that much better. No one is so significantly better that, like, oh my God, Lakers have no chance. Like, again, if you look at health, another year of chemistry, better coaching, right? LeBron and Anthony Davis not needing to ramp up and get into midseason form. They should be in midseason form right out the gate, right? Better health. Like, you stack up all these things with the Lakers, you can make the same argument that the Lakers got better than all the teams that made the move and impact, right? Again, I think that they need a trade. But people act like the Lakers are just scrubs. They won 47 games last year with terrible coaching, going 10-13, losing 10-13 at the end of in that midseason tournament. Darvin Ham, like, almost deliberately sabotaging the Lakers at times. All the injury issues, everything, all of that, right? And guess what? Mr. 81, you're right. I didn't mention the Pelicans. Let's talk about the Pelicans real quick too. Pelicans, who's playing center for the Pelicans? Is Zion going to be center? He just lost 40 pounds and he's 6'6", right? Like, so what? Zion's going to be the center for the Pelicans, right? Can Brandon Ingram and Zion stay healthy, right? You could argue that for LeBron and AD, but guess what? LeBron and AD have been very healthy the last few years, and even their injury history compared to Brandon Ingram and Zion's is like night and I mean, Anthony Davis and LeBron James play all 82 games compared to Zion and Ingram. But okay, let's remove injuries from the conversation because that's unpredictable. You can't predict that. Brandon Ingram wants out. The Pelicans want out. They have desperately tried to get rid of Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's team has done everything they can to try to find a trade to get off of Brandon Ingram, and no one's been able to do that. What type of Brandon Ingram are you getting? Right? Are you getting a fully locked in, engaged, ready to go Brandon Ingram? Because if you are, then the Pelicans might be tough, right? Because the Pelicans would have DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and then again, who's playing center? Are they going to go small and go Zion at the 5? Okay, well then CJ needs to come off the bench at that point because you need to be the best perimeter team, defensive team in the league at that point because you have no rim protection. So then at that point, you're talking CJ or you're talking DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, probably, or Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones, whichever at the 3. And then you're probably going Troy Murphy and then Zion, right? Okay, so you have those 5 as your 5. Okay, fine. Again, you're small, so I don't have a lot of belief in you doing anything, right? But what kind of Brandon Ingram do you get? If you're getting a completely checked out, I don't even want to be here, Brandon Ingram, and people might think like he's in a contract year, he's going to play great. He wants $40 million and he's not going to get that. He'll be lucky to get probably $30 million, right? Like, so I don't think his contract, He can't be in a worse position than he is right now. Right? He's not going to be out of the league. A team will take a flyer on him no matter what. But no matter how he plays, it's not going to affect his contract because he wants this. Teams want to give him this. So I'm not worried about that. And then also, if you trade Brandon Ingram, right, what are you getting for him? If you just unload Brandon Ingram and you don't solve your center position or anything else, then no, you might be worse. Because not only do you have no center, but if you just swapped Brandon Ingram for DeJounte Murray, I don't think you're better. I think you're okay. I'll say that I think that they're slightly better because I do think DeJounte could give you the same type of offensive production and kind of put things together better. So, okay, I'll give them they're slightly better. I still think they're at best a play-in team, right? So again, look at all the teams. I don't see any of these teams being that much better. So we'll see though, right? Don't underestimate good coaching. Don't underestimate good coaching. But thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate you. And yes, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Vando at the 2, thumbs up. Yeah, AR off the bench. I like it too. Again, Vando could be slotted. There's a difference between defensive sets and offensive sets. You can have Vando at the 2 on defense and then drop him down and put whoever you want at the 2 on offense, right? You could put LeBron at the point, D'Lo at the 2, right? Just because Vando's always out on the perimeter anyway. He's always slotted at the 2 anyway on defense. Austin Reeves is usually defending the 3s. So Vando on defense is almost always the 2, slotted at the 2. It's usually D'Lo and Vando out on the perimeter because he's usually defending Kyrie or Anthony Edwards or De'Aaron Fox or Luka or, Ja or whomever, right? Steph, all these guys. So Vando is a defense specialist. Shooting guard doesn't need to play on both sides of the ball. That is not true at all. This is the NBA. This isn't the YMCA. This isn't a rec league, right? Plenty of guys slot in different. Again, like on offense, LeBron almost is never slotted where the 4 usually is, right? Even Anthony Davis at times isn't slotted at the center position, right? Like, again, guys aren't always. Austin Reeves, as I mentioned, on offense, he's usually slotted at the 2. On defense, he's usually slotted at the 3. Again, just because a guy is on paper a position doesn't mean he has to play it on both sides. I mean, they allowed KD the Warriors. Why not? Yeah, you're not wrong there. NBA would be a joke if Curry traded happened. Couldn't allow CP3 with Kobe, but allow Curry to LeBron. You also, I think David Stern owned the Pelicans or the Hornets at the time, right? So it's a little different scenario, right? And 2, the NBA's justification, because you got to think CP3 and Kobe were in their prime. The NBA's justification could be they're both old. Like LeBron is 40. Steph Curry will be 37 in March. So I think it's a little different of a scenario. I don't think it's really like a 1-to-1 comparison. Opening night, D'Lo Max, Vando, Bron 80, or D'Lo, Vando, Rui, Bron 80. Yeah, I'm right there with you. What about Brandon Ingram coming back? I don't hate the idea. Look, so I've talked about it. I think you could look at it 2 ways. One, you could bring in Brandon Ingram to clear off salary. And if he still wants a max contract, you just let him walk. And now you cleared up. Because there's a bunch of players that could become available next offseason. Question is, will they? But even Kyrie could come and sign. He could opt out and be a free agent. So if you're the Lakers, you could basically use Brandon Ingram as a salary dump that helps you compete this year. So it's not like a complete salary dump to where you're tanking. So you could go get Brandon Ingram, bring him in. If it works, then you can just try to re-sign him on $25 million a year or something like that. Now you got him at a good price. Or like I said, just let him walk and free up a bunch of cap space is kind of, so I think depends on how you want to look at it, but I don't hate the idea. It's just, I don't think problem with Brandon Ingram is the money he wants and then his injuries. The guy can't stay healthy. Walker low-key moves the needle. I like Walker a lot. He, like I said, outside of Zach LaVine, he's probably my favorite trade. Grant doesn't rebound or play defense. So rebounding, yes. But about the rebounding, how much of that is him not actually having to? Right? If you're not telling a player, if you're not on a play, LeBron doesn't play defense. because no one tells him to. So he doesn't have to. He's just like, I'm not like, I'm just, I mean, again, like, it's one thing when you're telling somebody to do something or they're playing the role or you're on their behind about it. It's another thing when it's like, you don't have to worry about rebound. Just stay out on the perimeter, right? The playing defense thing, again, defensive players are best amongst actual units, right? Like, if you slot Alex Caruso on Detroit, he's not going to be an all defensive player like he was last year, right? But you slot him on the Bulls, who actually were collectively actually very good defensively, and actually at stretches were the best defensive team in the league at certain points in the season. Then yes, look at like the Lakers, right? Lakers go from Jared Vanderbilt was looked at as like a defensive specialist, but he wasn't looked at to the level and degree he was until he got to the Lakers, because he wasn't. His numbers were nowhere near, but he's playing alongside Anthony Davis, right? So when you have him, things change. So I do think if he were to be traded and JJ Redick really emphasized, hey, I need you rebounding and locking in defensively. Plus, it's different when you're on a team that you're contending with and a team like Portland that you're trying to tank. Like, he doesn't need to play defense. No one's asking him to play defense. If anything, if he starts playing defense, the coach is like, hey, stop that, right? So I don't know. I can't. We only, like, what does he look like on good teams and in good situations? He's been good both, right? So I don't know. That's all we really have to compare to. It's hard to really compare him to, oh, well, he's on a terrible team that doesn't want to play defense and has no defensive help. Tyler, we need a center. What about Whiteside, vet minimum, even Howard? So Dwight Howard is playing in Taiwan and just bought a team and brought all his buddies there, so he's not leaving. And then Hassan Whiteside, look, I love the idea of Hassan Whiteside. Like, I really wanted Hassan Whiteside like 2 seasons ago. Now that ship is sailed. I mean, he hasn't even played basketball in like 2 years. Like, nah, I personally stay away from him. Let's see. If trade goes down, if we get Curry and Wiggins, sign THT and Jay Crowder and let Lonnie Walker and Dennis Smith Jr. battle out for a spot. I don't even know if the Lakers could get Curry and Wiggins. Like, how much is that? That's like almost $70 million in salary, something like that. And you got to keep in mind, the Warriors can't take back salary. So I'm saying it's a lot of obstacles. It's a lot of like things and hurdles that have to go through. Yeah, Trevor doesn't own Lakers Nation. Lakers Nation is owned by a company or whatever. He's just the face of the channel. Bro, do you think we should waive Cam Reddish and promote Blake Hinson to a full roster? Problem is you can't. So all those guys, Reddish, Hayes, Wood, they're all guaranteed. So, and the Lakers only have 45. They're only 45,000 away from the second apron, so they can't. Basically, they can't go over the second apron at all. So, that's why the Lakers didn't waive anybody for Gary Trent or Spencer Dinwiddie or any of these people that, that the Lakers really wanted and were waiting around for. Right? The Lakers could waive those guys. They would have already waived them. They just can't, because they still count towards the still can't sorry, let's betray that. We can't, basically can't. They'd have to be unloaded. They have to be traded. Walker Kessler is a Los Angeles Laker. I would love the idea. I like the idea of Walker Kessler. Happy Friday, Tyler. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you. Good points. Thank you. One thing I worry about with a Curry trade, which, again, hopefully it happens. But like you said earlier, I would worry about what do we even have left. We'd be the thinnest team in the league. But so, like, that's why I think it makes more sense next season. Because, again, LeBron can kind of fudge his numbers to make it work. On top of that, like, look, if you have Steph, LeBron, and AD healthy, it doesn't really matter who else you have on that roster. Like, you're good enough to win. Now, obviously, again, like, health is important, and you don't want them worn out by the end of the season. But that's why, to me, I think it happens next offseason. If the Lakers were to trade for Steph this season, it probably wouldn't be to win necessarily this season. It'd be great. It'd be like, oh, yeah, and they'd have a real shot. But it'd be more about getting Steph now, so that way next offseason you can get the pieces necessary to win a chip and give LeBron and Steph like 2 years to try to win a championship, right? But yeah, I mean, I'd have a concern about like the depth and stuff. But I mean, you really only need like 6 guys, right? So to me, I would do everything I can to keep Jared Vanderbilt, right? Because between LeBron, Steph, and AD, you have more than enough offense, right? I do everything I can, keep Jared Vanderbilt. And then, I don't know, probably, because the problem is you're probably losing Dalton Connect. You're probably losing Max Christie. Probably losing Austin Reeves. That's the thing. It's just, it depends on what else is left. But I'd keep Jared Vanderbilt, right? Because then at that point, all you need is like a serviceable 2, right? Like you and I could play the 2 alongside Steph, LeBron, AD, and Vando. We'd be fine, right? Gotta admire Tyler's energy for the Lakers. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Going to 2-13 is crazy. It is crazy. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's wild. You lose that many games. I think we can beat these teams if we stay healthy. I really hope that this doctor can help us stay healthy because I'm so tired of being one, if not the most injured teams in the league. I agree too. I really hope that Dr. Sims can actually do a better job. I mean, obviously, injuries are part of the game. Can't really control it. There's not really much you can do in that regard, but hopefully it works out. Zion at center, yes, please. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro set himself up, bringing up the Pelicans with Tyler. Yeah. I know. I did forget the Pelicans, so let's get into it. Let's talk about the Rockets because they got better, I think. I don't really – I mean, they didn't really make any significant moves where it's like, oh, wow. Again, you're just looking at chemistry. You're looking at them being better, but they're like looking to move off of Sengun and Green and all that. It's like, I don't know. Like, they're weird. I think, yeah, Memphis is one of the teams I worry about. We'll struggle against teams that AD struggles against. Yeah, it's usually how it goes. Pelicans drafted said, yeah, but again, like, not really gonna. You're counting on a rookie center that they took 20th or whatever. Any thoughts on DeAndre Hunter? I like the idea of DeAndre Hunter, and it's funny because the Lakers drafted him technically. Again, it kind of boils down to like, what would he be? What would he become? I mean, he's cheap. You get him probably for nothing. Asking price is still high on him, but I don't hate the idea of Hunter because you can slot Hunter at the 2 or the 3. And he's played the 3 mostly, but he played at times at the 2 even. So I do like the idea of his versatility. Play basically 2 through 4. He's got good size. He's like 6'8". Defense is kind of hot and cold. Again, it's kind of getting him focused and locked in. His same thing with his shooting. His shooting can kind of be up and down. He might be the cheapest option. So if he is, I don't hate it. But again, it's like, excuse me, the drink is making me all bubbly. Like you'd need Hunter and, right? Like if you just get Hunter, I think it makes us better, but just slightly. I love seeing them play, but Braun and AD shouldn't play in preseason. Don't risk any injury. Yeah, I kind of wouldn't be against that at all. Obviously, you want to build some chemistry, so let them play. I don't know, maybe the last preseason game or something. Let's say Kobe's the only player to have the NBA say, no, that's not fair, do good to the boy to Brady, the GOAT combo. Yeah, there's facts. Which also, happy birthday to Kobe. Speaking of Kobe, I don't think I said that on the stream. Teams never want to trade with the Lakers. Yeah, no team wants to be the team that the Lakers win a championship off of. Right? No team wants that. Like they at least want to be able to justify, like, hey, we got a fleece. Like, what were we supposed to do? Like, they want to be able to justify that. Like, no team wants to be Memphis trading us Pau Gasol, right? Like, which I get it. Let's see. If you had a guess, do you think the Lakers winning the cup this season? Do you think they're going to the playoff mode that early, considering what happened last year? I don't think the Lakers win the cup this season because I don't think that the Lakers are going to care enough to win the cup this season. Last year, the Lakers wanted it. and especially LeBron. LeBron wanted it arguably more than the NBA championship last year because he wanted to say he was the first, right? Because he wants every checklist possible, right? So now he can say he's the only player ever to win the NCAA. He want not only win one, but be the first to win it. MVP, NBA championship, finals MVP, in-season tournament MVP, Olympic gold medalist, Olympic gold medal MVP. LeBron wanted that. Like, he wanted that badly. So I don't think he's going to care as much this season. And so I think it'll be business as usual. I think that they'll try because the games matter. But I do think, like last year, LeBron dealing with like a nagging injury, he still played because he wanted to win it. Where I think if LeBron's dealing with a nagging injury this season, I think he just sits and rests. I think he just goes like, I'm not doing that. Like, so I think that they'll approach it differently personally. Let's see. I said that the NBA owned the team. I said that David Stern owned the Pelicans. Let's see. The Bulls were 21st in defense rating last season. Yeah, but like I said, they had stretches where they were locked in, especially towards the back end of the season. Like when Levine left. And they really like locked in defensively, and then Levine came back, and then they were good again. They had like these pockets, kind of like Orlando. Orlando last few years. Last year they were actually really good, but prior to that, they had like month stretches. Like Chicago, I think it was in March. I think the month of March they were number one in defense. But defensive rating is based on the total of the season. So, and they were terrible early on, like awful, like you and me could play better defensively. People talk about him being injured, but Portland is a tanky team, and they shut down for almost 15, 20 games. Like Grant, always injured. He's just on a tanky team. Yeah, like, again, look, some guys, like, there's a reason the NBA made the threshold 65 games because that's the average in which players are playing. They made it 65 games because stars play around that. Like, guys are going to miss games. It's part of it. Like, the days of 82 games is over. You know, the days of 82 games depend on, Austin Reeves, right? Like the role guys. And then Mikal Bridges, of course. But Curry and Wiggins, 75 million. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, I don't even think the Lakers could get there. I mean, technically they could, but I don't think that they're getting Curry. Not this season. Honestly, next season, I think is a real possibility. This season, D'Lo Rui, Gabe Vincent for Levine, JHS for Kessler, signed Dennis Smith Jr. Yeah, I am with that 100%. Let's see. Tyler. Hey, Tyler. Out of Boston, Sixers, and Knicks. Who do you think? Who do you got coming out the East? I said last year I thought the Knicks were the second best team in the Western Conference. I still think that. Boston, I think, if healthy and can overcome the hurdles and get out of their own way again, I think Boston has probably the best. Is probably the safest bet. If the Knicks can stay healthy, I think the Knicks. If I had to bet on anyone, it'd be the Knicks. I think if the Knicks can stay healthy, they're going to be tough. The Warriors will want everything plus that for Curry. Let them have it. Like, if you, again, LeBron, Steph, and Anthony Davis healthy, you're winning at least a championship, if not two. If those guys can stay healthy. My only concern is it's the end of the season. But also, just from a business standpoint, the Lakers would do that. I mean, the kind of Steph Curry going to Lakers would be $1 billion. Like, just all the brand deals, TV deals, jersey sales, God, every game would be sold out. They would raise ticket prices, everything. You name it, man. that'd be the biggest steal ever. Boston going away. Hey, Tyler. If you were a Monstar, whose powers would you take for 24 hours? this was like 10 years ago, probably LeBron's. Now, I don't know. Having Steph's would be cool. If I could be like 6'8", but at my height, Steph, because then I could actually play in the league. Let's see. In a decent shot, Jalen Hood-Schifino can positively contribute this year. I mean, it's definitely a question. Problem is we don't really have evidence either way. I know a lot of people think Jalen Hood-Schifino is a bust and trash and this and the other. It's kind of hard to be good when you only playing 3 minutes a night and not even and only like I think he played like what 30 games last year and he averaged 3 minutes a game. Like how is he supposed to contribute? And it's all garbage time. He didn't play any meaningful minutes. So garbage time, you're just trying to get out of the game. There's no real structure. No one's coaching. No one's doing anything. There's no organization to garbage time, right? So the only thing we have to go off of is the G League. And in the G League, he was better than everybody. The dude averaged like 23 a game or 22 a game or something like that. Gave you like 6 rebounds, 8 assists, something crazy like that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head. But he shot like 43% from 3, 50% from the field. Like the dude was like a 50, 40, 90 guy in the G League, right? I understand it's the G League. I understand it's not the NBA, but that's a good sign that a 20-year-old kid is better than everybody in the G League, right? Like that's a really good sign that he can contribute. I like his size. I like his athleticism. I like his versatility. I just don't know right now, unless a trade happens, I just don't know where he slots in, right? Because you have right now, even you have D'Lo and Gabe Vincent, then you have Reeves and Christie, and then you have, Vando, Rui, and then you have like Dalton Connect that I think will split time at the 2, 3, and in between, right? So like where does Jalen Hood-Schifino slot in? So my guess is probably no. If the Lakers make a trade and end up trading D'Lo, then yes, I think he will. Build what chemistry? It's the same team. You know that? Wait, I don't. Hang on. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. Build what chemistry? Is the same team. Alex, that's how chemistry is built. Like it's how you build chemistry. I don't know. I'm reading that right. Build what chemistry is the same team. LOL. Yeah, that's how it works. It makes me mad because hey, no, thank you. Go lay over there. Thank you. Sorry. It makes me mad because no one is like, oh man, I'm so mad. One except for the Laker fans, but it's Lakers win. Everyone it's unreal. Yeah, it's usually how it goes. Let's see. We need a trade for Grant and Bruce Brown. Matt, I would love that. Love that. I would love Lonzo. I think he could be good for us. 20 minutes per game defense run. If he can stay healthy, I would love Lonzo back. Problem is that like he's making too much money and he's too big of a risk. I mean, the guy hasn't played in like what 2.5 seasons, something like that. It's such a risk. Like at least D'Lo, you're going to get him 70 plus games. I can't get there personally to trade for him. And the problem is if he gets bought out, we can't get him because he makes over whatever 20 million or whatever, 15 million. Look who's here. What's going on, Bill? The role players will come too. Yeah, exactly. Especially, if you get LeBron stuff, role players will come 100%. My problem with Jalen Hood-Schifino is he couldn't even hold down the third string guard spot and had to bring in Skylar Mays. But again, like that's a Darvin Ham thing, right? Like that's their decision. Like Skylar Mays, they brought him in and they sent Jalen Hood-Schifino to the G League. But how can somebody hold down? All we heard all offseason was that Jalen Hood-Schifino was busting everyone up and was the best player in training camp and then got 0 run, 0 burn, right? Like, again, and then even Skylar Mays, it's not like he played a ton. How many games did Skylar Mays play for? 10? So again, it's just like context. It's just like I don't. The guy just didn't really. It's hard to gauge Jalen Hood. Like everyone's like, oh, he couldn't even hold down the third string spot, and it's like, how do you know when he didn't even play? He played 17 games for the Lakers. And he averaged 4.5 minutes and 1.3 points. Jalen Hood had better numbers. Again, how that's, to me, that's not a Jalen Hood thing. That's a team thing. I think Colin Castleton is better than Jackson Hayes. I think he has better skill set. Problem is Colin Castleton plays like he's 5'5", right? He's so non-physical. Like, it's crazy to me. I need a haircut bad. You get my haircut. But yeah, I mean, he's so just like non-physical is my problem. But at some point you got to throw him out there. At some point you got to play him. I'm intrigued by what Jalen Hood can do on the defense side. Not sure he is off the ball, but that's what makes me feel he can maybe do something out there. I don't really know how I feel about him off the ball either, but that's why I like him like off the bench in a backup role as like, a 3-and-D guard, right? He's got bigger size than basically everybody. He's 6'6". He's bigger than Reeves, D'Lo, and Gabe Vincent. All right. I like I like the potential there at some point. Should we bring back Talen Horton-Tucker if losing D'Lo? I would not. I would stay as far away from Talen Horton-Tucker as possible. I'd rather bring in like a Fultz or a Dennis Smith Jr. or something like that. So the problem is he has moments where he looks great. Right? Like Talen Horton-Tucker will have like games and moments where you're just like, man, this guy is a baller. And then like he'll have like a month stretch where he's like completely unplayable. Like it's like really odd. He just has these stretches where he looks like he might be a superstar one day. And then he just has stretches where he's like literally unplayable. If James Harden gets traded somewhere and bought out, would you take a chance on him? Problem is Lakers can't because he makes too much money. But if they could, yes. Something like that in a heartbeat. Do you think Rui would be better off Braun sub than he can cook like LeBron with the ball in his hands, Vando and connect, play small forward mostly? Yes. Pale, 100%. Like me personally, my rotation would be D'Lo, Gabe Vincent. I prefer Max Christie in the starting lineup, but we know Austin Reeves. We know who the starters are going to be, right? We know D'Lo, Reeves, LeBron, and AD are locked to start. So D'Lo, I'd go LeBron. I'd go LeBron, Rui Hachimura. I'd go Anthony Davis and Christian Wood on most nights. Certain matchups, I'd probably go with Jackson Hayes. I think that would match up vary, but I think more times than not, you're probably better with Christian Wood. And that would be like my 10-man rotation. Looks like Laker has no plan for trade since they hired a development coach. They will just develop the roster. I mean, I wouldn't say that because, I mean, the Lakers have said that they'll pull off trade. And that's for the young guys, right? Like, and any trade that they make is not going to be for the young guys. They're not going to trade most of the young guys unless it's like some big impactful guy. Again, you're looking at like Rui, Gabe Vincent, and Cam Reddish for, Jeremy Grant. Like all the other guys that you want to develop is there. And the Lakers want to build out that program regardless. So I don't think that really impacts it either way. I think if a deal's there, they'll take it. I just don't think there's anything there right now. How many minutes do you see Dalton connect? That's my biggest kind of question mark, right? Because like, I think it really comes down to his play and consistency, but more so on the defensive end, right? If he can hold his own and be good defensively, then I think he'll get more minutes. If I had to guess, probably around 10 minutes a game. But if he's just that good out the gate, then probably 15 to 20 minutes. But if I had to like give you an answer right now, I'd say probably around 10 minutes, average 10 minutes. Some nights he might play 30 if like Reeves is out or something like that. But for the most part, that's what we'd be looking at. Yeah, we know Rui can't guard anyone fast. So yeah, backup power forward for him is best. I agree. I'm right there with you. Backup power forward, I think, is the way to go. I am right there with you. You two getting antsy? My dogs are getting antsy. I'm gonna get off the stream in like 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes. Can you be good for a minute? Thank you. Talk to me into Zach LaVine. Well, I've said I think Zach LaVine gives us the highest ceiling raising chance, right? Jeremy Grant, I think, makes us slightly better. Cam Johnson, all those, like, they make us slightly better, but I think you need multiple guys. Zach LaVine gives us the best chance at like going from like middle of the pack to like, oh no, they're a real contender, right? I know people have concerns about his health, but outside of last season, which he was supposed to finish the season until the Detroit rumors started, and then all of a sudden he was like, cueing Austin Reeves, I'm not going to Detroit. Hey, can you not nibble right now, please? Thank you. Your nibble's hurt, and I'm on camera. Please, thank you. Oh, I know. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. No, I love you more. But yeah, so like you look at the previous 2 seasons, he played in 77 games and 67 games. A lot of these playing around like 65 games and healthy come playoff time. I think the Lakers are good. Gives you the athleticism, gives you that go-to scorer. He's one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the league. The people you're trading to get him isn't that big of a deal. You get to keep all like your main pieces, right? You're trading D'Lo regardless. Gabe Vincent gave you 0 impact last year. And then Rui Hachimura, I like Rui, but you're getting everything he provides and more in Zach LaVine. He gives you rim pressure. He gives you that consistent go-to third option. He's much better defensively than people give him credit for, especially when he's locked in and engaged. He can do that. Lakers are much better with Zach LaVine than anything else. Now, again, and the biggest factor I didn't even mention is you wouldn't have to trade anything significant. You get to keep all your picks. You get to keep everything. You're in great shape. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you being here. Man, if we had Clay, he would have been perfect teacher for Dalton Connect. I am right there with you. Hey, ow. Can we not nibble? I know you guys want to go out. I got like 5 more questions and then we're going to go. Okay. Give me like 5 more questions and then we'll get out of here. Okay. I know you need to go potty, huh? I know. I'm going to take you potty in like 2 minutes. I'm almost done. Thank you. Be patient. Ow. She got me good. It's just that I feel that it feels like Westbrook boom or bust all over with Zach, but he would be perfect there. So, yeah, I mean, look, I get the idea because people are worried about the contract, right, is the biggest thing. Like, oh, how would you round out your depth? So you trade Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and D'Angelo Russell. You still have Zach LaVine, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dalton Connect, Max Christie, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, and you still have all of your picks to go do something else if you wanted to. Like, I think that you're fine, right? And Westbrook didn't work because he didn't fit. Zach LaVine fits perfectly. Who do you think is better, Knicks or Philly? I personally think the Knicks. I mean, we'll see how Paul George kind of fits in. So maybe that changes, but today I would have to choose. I'd have to choose the Knicks. If you're the GM, what would you have done this offseason instead of Rob making 0 moves? I mean, again, it depends on what the cost is, right? Like Rob, again, I'm not making any moves at the asking price that there is right now, but assuming I could get, like, if I could pick and do it, like, let's say all things work out exactly the way I want it, right? I'm trading a pick swap for Bruce Brown because he's not worth a straight up first. He's making too much money. He could leave in free agency. It's too much risk. He wants to be a Laker. He was going to sign with the Lakers in place of Gabe Vincent, but then Indiana was like, hey, we'll give you double. And then he did that. So perfect world. Everything works out. I'm going Bruce Brown for D'Lo and whatever, Christian Wood, whatever. Bruce Brown for D'Lo. I'm going, I know some people prefer Cam Johnson. I just think Jeremy Grant's better and just gives you the higher ceiling. So I'm going Rui, Gabe Vincent, and Cam Reddish to go get Jeremy Grant. So now you got that. And then I'm trading, and a first for Jeremy Grant. And then I'm trading the other first, moving protection, telling you pick a young guy, not named Max Christie or Dalton Connect, and then giving that up with the first and everything to get Walker Kessler. So now you have Bruce Brown, Austin Reeves, probably go, or Jeremy Grant, just traded for Jeremy Grant, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Now your bench five, be concerned about backup guard, but I think you have LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Bruce Brown. So I think you're fine. You could divvy them up to be your guards, right? But then you have basically off the bench of Max Christie, Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler, Christian Wood. You're fine. Lakers are fine. Is that your dog or Blake's dog? I mean, it's the family dog, so it's both of our dog, but it's more my dog. Like, I wanted the dog. It's more my dog. Like, I spend more time with the dog than anybody. The dog's always in the room with me. So this is my dog. Go walk your dogs. Yeah, I know I'm going to in a minute. No, I just got to let them outside. Shane Battier would have been great for our staff. I agree. Lakers Nation has studios too. Now you have your dog. He needs a regular on the show. I know. Now we have her name is Socks because it looks like she's wearing socks. See, if you look at that, she's like all black and then she just has like white socks on. So her name is Socks. So we have Studio Socks. Studio Socks. Oh, you Studio Socks. She's a good doggy. She's just a puppy. So, she's just like gets all antsy when I don't give her loving after an hour and some change. She's like, all right, that's enough. You played with your people online. No more. Time to play with me. So, all right, I'm gonna start skating out of here. Hey, be careful, Goofy. But here, last little thing. Again, obviously subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button if you haven't liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Also, I just put the link back into the chat. Go subscribe to me and Blake, me and my kids' YouTube channel. Me and Blake are doing unboxing videos on like packs and sports cards and stuff. We have the first video up on the channel. If you haven't seen the video, go check that out. Also, go subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subs. We're like, what are we at right now? We're at, I think like we're at 725. So I need 275 subscribers ASAP. So go subscribe. Our second video will be up on Monday. He sees me doing the YouTube thing, wants to do the YouTube thing like me. So why not? Let's do it. Right. So that's mine and his channel. So again, click the link, go subscribe to that channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. We got an AD. Yeah, we got a couple AD cards. So pretty nice. But we got a couple things. But Alex, appreciate you being here. I'm actually signing off right now. But again, go click the link that I put in the chat. AAS breaks. We greatly appreciate it and make his day. He really wants to get to 1,000 subs. So trying to get that ASAP. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. You guys are awesome. And I will see